right, welcome to Texas!
He's a 10.
I choose this family.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 166 of 911 Lone Star Roundup. I'm one of your hosts, Katie, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Grace and EJ.
Hello.
Hello.
Today, we will be talking about season 1, episode 7 and 8 of 911 Nashville, which are titled You've Been Boarded and All Hands. As always, we have so much to talk about, so many thoughts. So let's get to it.
Thoughts for sure. Thoughts for sure.
That's for sure. Thoughts, opinions.
So we come back and Blythe is of course hurt after last we saw basically like there was the hacking and like the tornado alarms and her horse got scared and she fell off the horse. So of course we're coming back and she has like this nasty cut on her arm. There's like barbed wire like embedded in her arm.
Ouch.
And
As
it's
someone who has had nasty experiences on the end of barbed wire, that sucks.
yeah, it looked super painful, which I imagine it was. Because anything involving barbed wire, yeah, that hurts.
We'll need a few
And
tetanus shots after that.
yep. Yeah,
Mhm.
so her horse got startled and yeah. So she has to find a way to get them free because only is her horse Willie like he has barbed wire like stuck to him where he can't really get away, but she also has to get herself free. And there's a lot of things happening between this scene and like between this moment and other things because we also see like a news thing where on the news they're talking about the hacking and they're just calling it a glitch and they're like a glitch really, but like news always downplays things because otherwise
Right.
everyone will freak out and they do not want the whole city of Nashville and just the whole area to be freaking out over obviously something. So yeah, that's there. And then so yeah, Blythe is like, "Oh, Don'll save us. Like we'll be fine." And so of course she's able to reach her saddlebag and get her phone out yet, but it's the screen is cracked. The phone is not usable, and not to mention like the hacking. I think there's still that like error message or whatever it was on there. So yeah, there's no way she's getting through. And it's just
Right.
and then luckily at least something goes right because she has pliers and is able to cut herself free from the barbed wire or at least get the majority of it off. And when she gets up to walk, she realizes, oh yeah, I hurt my leg too, because she can barely walk without like pain and stuff. And she also like yeah, she has to cut Willie free from the fence as well. And she's like trying to help him, and of course, um, he runs away because he's startled, and it's just
Right.
like, oh, that's not good. And she ends up falling down too. And she's like telling him to stop. And I love her yelling abandon her at him. That was so funny.
That was funny.
And yeah, so nobody's heard from Blythe too. So it's just like, oh, how far are we gonna go? So then there is like this whole meeting about the hack or whatever, their kind of course of plan. And of course, we have to start this with the whole Don and his father-in-law, Edward, kind of battle, I guess you could call it. And like Don's like talking about like threatening him with like what he knows about like the code violations and like that kind of stuff. And Edward is saying he will give Nashville FD money if Don fires blue. That's like the whole thing they got going right now. So of course that they have to have their drama before this whole serious thing. Then so basically we have this meeting, which is of course led by this like FBI agent guy, and Cammy's there, Don's there, like the mayor's there, Edward, and like some other people, like the fire chief, and I assume the police chief, and some other people. And so like the FBI agent is saying how they believe that the same people behind the LA attack 5 years ago are behind the Nashville hack. We all remember during that they knocked down air traffic control and the entire power grid, and he even emptied the LA Zoo, which I was just like them mentioning that was honestly the
Yeah,
best
I remember
part.
that.
Dude, they had that up on the screen behind them, and I don't remember if it looked that bad during the actual scene, but the rhino looked so CGI.
Oh yeah.
All the animals
Like
were
in
like
that
so, but like I could let that go at the time because I'm just like honestly I don't really care
in the
because
actual episode, it didn't look that bad. On the screen behind them, it looked bad. I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it. I was literally like, did they like re-CGI something to put it in there? Like something we didn't
Yeah.
see? So I don't remember we saw the rhino or not. Anyway, I was
it could have
yeah.
just because they're I don't know, it could have just been because they obviously put the screen in there. I don't know. It's not actually there, that's what I'm thinking.
Mm.
But honestly, it's just funny. So like he thinks that they could do the same thing again here, but worse. And the FBI is basically going to set up investigation and their command center at the call center. It's unlikely that they'll be able to stop them in time because they literally only have like a few hours. So like they're all saying if they should pay the ransom or not. And Don's like, "Oh, we should just pay the ransom because like it's gonna get pretty bad and like the whole city could be like at risk." And Cammy says that everything's down, like they've been basically knocked down to the last century, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's bad." Of course, I like it was a unanimous vote, and most people voted to like not pay the ransom. So yeah, that's gonna get real bad. And then of course at the station, Ryan has to tell everyone to basically they have to get prepared because they're not going to pay the ransom and they have to be as prepared as they can be. So there's
Can I just
that.
can I just say that I am so tired of this Nepo baby shit.
Yep.
Because what do you mean Don, Cammy, and Edward were all in this super duper important meeting? Edward, because he donates money to Shed and got given a position for it.
The head
Don
of
as
the
the
like Chamber of Commerce.
I mean,
because of course.
it's I
Don because he's the head of emergency management because of course he is. And then Cammy because she's the dispatch liaison. Sure, all legitimate positions, I guess. But I was just there the entire time until I like actually saw what they were there for. I was like, what are you fuckers doing here for? Like, because there's the
yeah,
police chief, the fire chief, the mayor,
Right.
and then there are these fucks. I'm sorry.
that's
That was my
true.
entire.
I
That was
was
my.
wondering that too though.
I mean, I
I
didn't think it was that serious. I it like made
once I realized that
sense
they.
and it made sense in a sense because like they're like the people they kind of need almost like an outsider view, meaning like they need people that are actually going to be out there. Yes, I get there's a fire chief and the police chief, but I feel like but also I understand what you're saying. I'm not discounting
Yeah.
anything. I
No,
just
once I realized that they had, because for a moment I didn't realize they had actual roles. I just thought they were there because they're
Yeah.
special, which I still think they have those roles because they're special. But like that, they when they had actual roles, I could get over it. I just at the time, I remember if it has ever been mentioned before, but it's not like I particularly care to remember. Like I didn't remember, I didn't know they had roles there, so I was like, what are these fuckers doing there?
Right.
Anyway, sorry. That was my entire I was literally just grouchily watching the screen most of the that particular scene just because I was like, and how does this make sense?
Right. Well, and I think the reason why it was mentioned that Cammy was there was she was part of the rebuild of the 911 call center and her
yeah.
she
I thought
used her husband's like what's some of the money that when her husband died to put towards it. So
well,
she's kind of like head, but I don't know. Weird.
yeah, I mean she was referred to as the liaison. I don't know if that's like her official position or whatever, if they just referred to her as that. Like it again, it's all fine. I was just
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
bitchy about it. So I was just like,
Yeah.
get these Nepo babies out of here. Um,
It also would have made a little bit more sense if like say Cammy had like Sue's job if she had been in the room as like that, I would be like, "Oh,
yeah.
absolutely." Like that makes
Yeah.
sense.
That
Um
would have made a lot of sense.
and I get
Um,
like the fire captain being there, like that makes
like,
sense.
see, the thing was is that like Don was there as like I think he was the manager of emergency, like he had some position in like emergency management. I think maybe head or something.
Yeah, like
But like I was just there like, why is this random ass fire captain there? if we're going to bring in captains, why don't we bring in all of the captains? And there are a lot of captains. It'd make more sense to bring in all the fire chiefs or
Yeah, they need
battalion
bigger
chiefs.
room. And also this is like high stakes, so it's just and also like why do we have these random ass like people that have money there? Like that does not make sense to me. Like what are they gonna do in a time of crisis?
I know. And it didn't do
They're
anything
just
anyway because
asking
they
for
didn't,
money. Yeah, they
they're just
didn't
asking for
pay. They didn't pay, so like what was the point in that?
Right.
But yeah, moving on.
moving on. We're not getting sidetracked this early.
So at the call center, of course, I love the part where they just like pull out a phone book and the guy's like, "This is a phone book." And I that was
Like almost
so
everyone
funny.
in there wouldn't know that.
Well, yeah, older ones would, but it was just so funny because I feel like it was more for like like the people who are watching the show
Mhm.
to see it, like the way he's casually teasing about it, basically, like this is a phone book. There's numbers in here.
But the thing is, I
Yeah.
think Nashville, I think the viewing age would be older, if that makes sense. I
Possibly.
think 911, the viewing age would probably be like what you would think, like maybe like I'm just picking or like whatever. It would definitely be younger. Let's just put that. I don't need to put a number on it. But like I feel like Nashville, it seems like the people that watch it are like older, and stuff. That's just kind of the vibe I get with it's just a thing. So I definitely think they use that to their ability to be like all the younger people not knowing what a phone book
Mhm.
is. But honestly, I
Yeah.
think most people listen, I remember a phone book. I remember being in elementary school and like if you wanted to look up your friend's number and you didn't know their number, you would literally pull out the phone book. And I remember when the phone
See,
books were delivered and they were just like, oh, a new phone book. Yay.
Right.
see, that was it was kind I had one, but we didn't really, not that I can remember, use it really. It was kind of past its time. I was like growing up. But also we didn't really call people either, so maybe that also has something to do with it. The
Yeah.
whole isolation factor.
Yeah.
But I knew what a phone book was because if nothing else, we just had one sitting around for a while, even if we
Yeah.
didn't use it.
Yeah, that was just a whole like I love that bit. And then like so basically they're having to revert to writing down the calls and then going on the board and like penning them or whatever, like manually.
Mm.
And then we have these two women who are like the from the consulting place or whatever. They're trying to like low key sneak out, and the agent is like, where are you going? Like, no, nobody's like getting out of here. Like we're under lockdown. And they're like explaining their whole sob story. Literally don't care. And I love this man because he just tells them like I don't care who you are like and stuff, and I'm like, go off, sir. And like
Listen, out of all of Nashville, the FBI agent is my favorite character, and he showed up in 2 episodes. I don't remember his name, but I adore him.
I
I
feel
do
like we're gonna see more of him later.
I feel like with the
Yes,
stuff they hinted, which I
Yeah.
won't say
We'll
nothing
say it
about,
later, but
when we get
uh
to it. But I am with it. I'm okay with
um yeah, and I don't trust these two. It's very
it.
suspicious to me, and
yeah.
they're laying this
We've
out very
never
early.
trusted these two. I'm just gonna say we haven't liked them from the bit. I don't think we like distrusted them, but we haven't liked them
Right.
since
Yeah. That
at least
like
I haven't.
I no, for sure not. And yeah, so then we go on to like I guess one of the big hacking storylines because we have the steamboat getting hacked.
Mm.
Yeah, I know this is a hard one.
It's hard on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just gonna laugh. But I'll speak at the end of this bit.
Yeah. So like this captain is retiring, so it's basically his like last voyage, I guess you could say. And of course the boat gets hacked and like it's being steered away, going at full speed, and of course they changed the course, and so they're basically planning to crash it into a bridge. And so of course, because why wouldn't he? The dad, this because it's like a woman and her like father in his retirement. And of course, he passes out and like she doesn't know anything about how to steer or how to like fix the situation because they can't even do anything. And so like Kimmy's like trying to get like the 113 to stop the boat. They're like, how the heck are we gonna do this? And like of course they're trying to get people off the bridge, and I love them showing up and like this like dude just whatever, and then they're asking for a boat and he's like, what kind of boat? And Don's just like, the fastest one you have,
Yeah,
like.
that was interesting. That like sentence and then like the next scene of them like actually on it reminded me so much of like Baywatch, where like they hop into the Baywatch boat and they're like darting across the ocean to rescue somebody. I was like, oh God, this is so like classic.
Yep. Yeah, I just got so many vibes from this whole thing. And then basically like they have to kill the whole system, and I just love the basically essentially the new guy, them being like, well, let's just kill the whole system, we can do that. And the guy's like, but then we won't be able to control the ship. And Don's like, well, neither will the hackers, like they'll lose control too. And it's like, yeah, and luckily they were able to like get everyone off the bridge, and then like able to steer the boat
Most
so it's
central.
going away from the bridge. And so yeah, that is good. Um, glad for that. And
Mm.
just when you think just when you think it's all over, nope, it resets, the ransom goes up. They have a new thing that like, something else bad is going to happen, and you're just like, oh, how could this possibly get worse?
Yippee. This boat scene to me, yes, it was a little difficult because of everything that happened with the Key Bridge almost two
Yeah.
years ago now, I think. It was a little difficult for
Yeah.
that. Like that was a very traumatic event to happen to my area.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
and an absolutely tragic for loss of lives. Um, and there was also just like I know it's a show, and this is not the only thing they do that makes absolutely no fucking sense. But it just felt like it should not have worked.
See,
Because
I
what do
don't
you
know
mean they were
why.
coming like super close? They were basically exactly parallel to hitting that bridge. This tiny ass boat comes across and they throw a line, and they're not able to get the thing they're hitting to actually move to steer. The anchor, that's going to slow them down. It's not going to turn them. How do you mean they were able to get it with like this freaking much space between the bridge? Like, what do you mean they were able to divert it that much? That was a big boat. I'm sorry. I
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know boat dynamics. I don't. I'm not pretending I know boat dynamics, but it just feels like scientifically speaking, it shouldn't have worked.
yeah,
Hmm.
I don't, maybe I just don't care about the details, because I don't know why I don't, because there's so many things that just in this franchise that have happened where there's some things where I'm just like whatever, but then there's other
Oh,
things where I'm
901
like,
has its own fair share.
tell me how like 10 or however many people it was could lift up a friggin' ladder truck.
Don't even, yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
as bad. Like there's
And see,
some
that's
things I
so,
just let it go
yeah,
because it's just not worth, like I get we're just talking about it, but I'm just like,
yeah,
I think I'm just not like there are definitely things I am invested in, but I'm just not invested enough to nitpick at details. And it's fine if we do, but I'm just saying for me, I
yeah.
guess I just don't care enough to be like, why is this happening?
See, I'm saying it because this is how like I watch the show, and this is how I watch the shows. Like for the fire truck bit, absolutely it should not have worked, but it's also a super emotional scene, so you're not thinking about it as much in that.
Yeah.
And 911 is just as bad, Lone Star is just as bad. These shows in general, like a lot of these, like many of these things shouldn't work. So I'm not trying to specifically pick on Nashville or anything. But
Right.
also, like, there's a bit of I am a super detail oriented person, and especially going into emergency services myself, I'm noticing more and more because I start learning more about how things operate. Now, this scene, again, I know nothing about boats, so maybe it is possible. I don't know. But I'm watching more and more how things are done, and therefore it's bothering me more and more when I
Yeah.
see something I'm like, that feels like that shouldn't make sense. Um, And so that's why like most of this scene I was just watching it like I don't know about that chat. Yeah. Again, I'm detail oriented, but
Yeah.
it's fine. It's just like there's also I'm not super invested in it. I think that's part of the problem is that I'm not so emotionally invested in it that I'm able to turn off my brain, but it's not to the degree where I'm just not overthinking it at all. I just overthink the wrong things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm another
that's
version
totally
of
fine.
so anyway, it's a cool scene, I guess. The father and daughter bit was actually cute. I did actually like the little
Mhm.
like captain and his daughter
Yeah.
bit, as little of it as we actually got. I
I
thought
was
that bit was
glad
cute.
with how short it was though, because like
Yeah.
there's
Mm.
nothing I hate more than when an emergency just drags on and on, especially I don't know. I don't it's just no, there's other things I'd rather see, especially with something I'm
I
not
also
super invested in.
Yeah.
I also thought they did actually time out these emergencies really well. I will say, like, I didn't feel like any of them super dragged on. It kept it moving.
So then, meanwhile, we have Blythe making a DIY tourniquet for herself, literally putting a stick essentially around,
Right.
and um, that was interesting. This whole freaking scene, well, this whole scenario, I guess I should say, is interesting with her because if anyone watched Grey's Anatomy, Arizona loses her leg in Grey's Anatomy, and then not even that. The whole friggin' plane crash where they're in the woods and like Arizona is screaming. And
Flashbacks.
yeah, that's what it's funny because like before I even watched this episode, I had heard people say things like online, and that was one of the things that people were talking about. They're like, "Oh, I was wondering how this one was gonna end." I don't even feel bad saying that because that episode aired like 14 years ago. So that's
Like
not.
literally, I've never watched Grey's Anatomy, so that's could be considered a spoiler for me. I don't give a shit. If I wanted to avoid spoilers, I should have watched the damn show by this
I
Yeah,
point.
know,
I
yeah.
know.
Most
I
kids are
love when
like,
people like it'll be a show that aired a long time ago. People are like, "Oh my God, but that's a spoiler." Okay, you only really have to do etiquetely have to do spoilers for like maybe the first week and a week and a half for like the show for it to be like considered a spoiler. Then it's not really a spoiler anymore. Like, yes, people like
At that
myself
point,
will still put a spoiler for at least like a month or whatever if I'm talking or something,
yeah.
or I'll preface it of potentially being one. But like when it's this old, you're just like,
Mm.
that's not honey, that's not a spoiler anymore. That's like
That's
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 not.
like that's like people saying like don't spoil Pride and Prejudice for me or something like that. Like, guys, that came out in the 1800s.
You should have
right?
read it by now. I don't care if you were
Ah,
just born. You should have been
Yeah.
reading it in the
read it or
womb.
watched it. Like,
Yeah. And in the fandoms that I've watched, I've been a part of, like within the first year of an episode airing, spoilers from that are kind of like, oh, like not okay. But then after that, it's like, if you haven't watched it in the last year, like,
And also, if I
yeah.
wanted to watch something, I would be careful with looking things up. Like, there's shows that I want to
Yeah.
watch, but I won't. If I don't want to be spoiled, I won't look up things about it.
Mhm.
It's that simple. But
Yeah. Like
anyways,
ultimately you're responsible for your fandom experience for the most part.
exactly. I
Yeah.
exactly. Um. Anyways, so we have that. And then so basically this the FBI agent is like looking at someone inside the call center because he thinks it's an inside job and basically with like H and stuff like that. And of course at first he looks at Cammy and you're just like, okay. And
Sure,
this
I
whole
guess.
this whole this whole part irked me because then they bring up a lie detector and every time a lie
Mm,
I was so
detector
mm.
mad at this scene.
is brought up in a show, I get so mad and it just really irks me because literally they don't use these in real life anymore because they're not accurate. It is so easy to fake your own baseline. People do it in so many different ways that I won't even bother getting into. Just Google is free. Go look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Dude, I was so pissed off
I
when they
think it's
did
Yeah.
this.
so
I was like, what do you
stupid.
mean?
It is
When
so
they said polygraph, because it's
stupid.
not usable in court.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
Like, it's not like what
exactly.
What would they do if they did have her confessing? They can't use that in court.
Yeah, it's in a
Or
I love
mistake.
how
have
we're
her
all
failing
on
the
the same page and we all had the
Yeah.
same feelings
I was
because
mad about it.
I'm-
Like I would.
I was mad. I was
I
like, what the fuck do you mean?
and I why are these shows not like I know it's not that serious, but this is one of those things that happened in the episode where I was just like, "Are you kidding me?" Like it really makes me like irritated with shows that they don't do enough research. Be like, "Oh, this is actually a real thing, so we shouldn't use this as a plot device." Because to me, it's like a plot device. And I'm just like, really? So yeah, they do that. And then we go to Don is like trying to call Blythe and he is like getting her voicemail and then he is like telling Ryan that about like well because Ryan was asking about the blue thing, like about him being let go and like Don says, "Oh, he hasn't said anything about it." Um, and like this is when Ryan kind of finds out about like the whole blackmail thing. And like, Don is very much believing that like Edward won't let it go.
Yeah.
And so then Don's like telling the Ryan that he should call Blythe because she'll pick up for him and stuff. And then Don leaves and tells Ryan he's in charge, and it's just like, okay. Um,
Hmm.
and then we go to Blythe attempting to walk, and this is, yeah, like I said earlier, I'm just getting so many, so many, I'm thinking so many things. And then, of course, she falls down, like downhill a little bit, and you're like, why wouldn't she? Um,
The thing is that I like Blythe. Like she is probably one of the only actual adults on this show, like that I care anything about. Though I will say, okay, I have made progress over the course of these episodes. I actually started to like Kim because I didn't like her originally. I'm actually okay with her
I've
now.
I've kind of updated my feelings. I think when we first initially talked about, I think it was like the first few episodes, I said that at that time it's not that I hated Blake, but I really didn't like her that much. I think she was I like kind of lower on my list. But now I like and I love Jessica Capshaw. I was never anything against her. Like I love
Yeah,
her. But I didn't really, I don't know, I was just not loving Blythe at the time. But now I feel like she's moved a little bit up on my list, like a middle ground, I'd say. Because there's
yeah.
just, there's also not a lot, but there's a lot of characters I'm just like, they're blah. Like they're nothing.
Yeah,
It's just, I don't care. I'm not invested. I don't care. I'm just like, you're here and I'm watching and that's it. Um, it's honestly it's like Roxy Taylor and honestly Ryan's wife Sam that I actually
dude,
like. I
I
think it
like
was
Sam.
in the episode after this. I'll explain it more then.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that I was just like, yeah, I really like this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
No.
just wanted to say that my opinions of Blythe, I
Yeah,
realized in these episodes
Yeah.
are
we're
like
having
middle
shifting
ground.
opinions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
like
we all
Exactly.
kind of thought might happen. We weren't
yeah,
against that.
exactly.
I
Like
feel
we
things are
truly are
shifting.
going into this with open-ish mind. Like
Yeah,
it's
we're
going.
trying.
I
We're
still
trying.
dislike the people I disliked, but Cammy went up in my estimation. I do still like life, but like watching this like whole fall scene. For one thing, I love horses, so like I was very concerned about the horse throughout all of this.
Oh, I was
Actually,
too.
Yeah, me
I was
too. I
like,
was worried about him.
I
also like
know.
I think I was like she must have been taking an inexperienced horse out on a ride because he was horses do spook fairly easily, but a well-seasoned riding horse is a little bit more, I don't want to say stable, but we're gonna go with stable because I can't think of a better word. I
It
think he was just a
reminded
little
me
young.
it reminded me of Owen's horse that he was basically trying to rehabilitate.
I forgot
Um
about that.
I know, I know.
I was sitting here for a brief second, like, who? I was like, oh, I forgot that
Season
entire
5 of
part of
Lone
the
Star
scene.
was a fever dream, honestly.
I was gonna say, yeah, it really was. But also I was here like, okay, Can I say, obligatory as the EMT student in the room, I was sitting here the entire time debating over whether she should have taken out the barbed wire
Oh, yeah.
for self. Because I was like, it is probably was stopping the bleeding. In the field, we are not supposed to remove penetrating objects of any kind unless they impede CPR or in the cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
like
that
I get
could impede
cutting it, but like
Mhm.
I was
actually
like,
pulling it
girl,
out, that's
I would have
no.
left it. Like, listen, I have been cut by barbed wire. It
Yeah.
is a bitch and a half. But I was sitting there like, honestly, I think she should have left it in. Like she should.
So I was thinking about the whole like taking the barbed wire out too, and I was like, there's pros and cons to both. And I think for this situation, like it's a good thing that she did have it out, because had she had it still wrapped around her arm when she tripped and fell, it could have done more damage.
That is
True.
true as well. I mean, she
Um,
still was bleeding pretty
yeah,
badly when she fell, regardless. That's true. And again, I'm thinking in terms of ideally emergency medical
yeah,
response, you're getting someone out of there right then and
right.
there. I think either way would have been
Yeah,
the best.
yeah.
But
And
like
I mean,
ideally, my advice would have been to have left it in.
yeah. And she, she did the smart thing. She cut it free, so she at least had it,
Yes.
loose. Granted, it, yes, loosened up the horse, and the horse is like, I'm freaked out. I'm taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Which I was
for
actually
sure.
like good on because
yeah,
okay, it would for one thing, could she have gotten herself up into the saddle with a bum arm and a bum leg? Maybe. Could she have stayed? Who knows?
yeah, I don't know.
But also horses are know where to go home.
Yeah,
That is like such a cliche in movies, but it is true. They know where the food is. So I was like, okay, him going back home means he's getting help because they're gonna
Right.
notice a riderless horse, so it's still okay.
Yeah,
I'm
there are a
defending the
lot
horse,
of
and I don't
animals
even
like
need to.
that. Moving on, we are at like a press conference, and of course, like during the press camp conference, the mayor collapses, and of course he has a pacemaker, and like this is
Mhm.
bad, and like it's weird because his heart rate is speeding up, and of course Roxy is the one to figure it out, and it was like after multiple people with like medical devices, and she's like, oh, their medical devices are being hacked, and like there's a guy with an insulin pump, and then of course that leads her to like call everyone else forward. But slightly before that, of course, she's like cutting out his or disconnecting his pacemaker. So cutting him open on live TV and like his pacemaker being disconnected, which is fine because she is a former trauma surgeon. If it had
yeah,
been
he
any
does
other
have a
Yeah.
license.
storyline, I would have been
Yeah.
like, what are we doing? Which I understand it was like very dire situation, but she
Mm-hmm.
does have the training to back it up. So
Right.
I will not get mad at it. Honestly, it was a boss move, and I do
Yeah.
really like Roxy and stuff.
I like Roxy and Taylor. I really do. Like actually,
Number
like all
ones.
the younger women on the show for sure, I like. But
Absolutely.
I don't know. Between like scenes we've had in previous episodes, this and the scene we get later, I'm like, I feel like there's a lot of cutting open in the field happening. And I get that's within her like it is within her scope of practice because she is presumably like she still has all her certification and everything. Like she is a former trauma surgeon. She just doesn't practice as such anymore. But it does feel. I think I just feel weird because again, her exact. It just feels undefined.
Yeah,
Right.
they're definitely utilizing the fact that she was a trauma surgeon. And I
Yeah.
think I think partially the show is probably doing it to be edgier, maybe.
Yeah.
Like they definitely want to be like, we have this and we're gonna utilize it, which is
Right.
fine. Like
I
that's
just want them to pace it a little more because it's already starting to feel little, and just in my opinion, a little old. And like
Yeah.
we're in the first season, like we rein it back a little bit. I want to see her doing like I get she's not just a paramedic, but she's acting as a paramedic generally. Like she's on a paramedic team. I'd love to see some more like I'd love to see her and Taylor on a more level playing field in some calls. Not in necessarily tropes of abilities, but just in what happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I just don't see them doing that, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, no, I get that. I realize I'm asking too much, and I could also just watch Lone Star if I wanted to watch a level. But I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I watched Taylor do a lot of support work for Roxy, and I don't really get to see her do a lot of like actual.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, I'll shut up.
But then, yeah, Roxy then calls everyone forward that has like medical devices, and yeah, there's like insulin pumps, people with pacemakers, chemo ports, and yeah, I did find that a little bit interesting. And I think
Mm.
if I remember correctly, in 911, this was also happening when they were in the hospital. Maybe I'm thinking of a
For the
different
hacker
show.
attack.
I thought so, but maybe I'm mixing it with another show. See, I thought to myself today, I was like, oh, I definitely should have watched parts of that again so I remember it because obviously it
Yeah,
was a
it's
while
it's been
Yeah.
ago.
so long.
Several seasons, yeah.
But I haven't had
Yeah.
time.
And
So
season 5 of 911 also felt like a fever dream. Like, I know we were saying that
yeah,
about Lone Star, but
I
it
know in
also
some
felt.
show that was happening. I just don't remember if it was actually that one, but just random
Maybe.
things.
None of us remember, I think, clearly enough to really be able to say one way or another. But
Yeah, but just keeping that as a thought. But then Don shows up and like he's worried about Blythe and like he knows that things went wrong when Willie
Yeah.
shows up
Mhm.
and
as I was saying,
Yeah.
like yeah. And then so the whole Cammy and the lie detector thing, obviously she's innocent and I was just like that whole storyline was stupid and I'm just like shows need to just stop doing that because I'm just like it makes me so mad.
Well,
It's
and
not a
it
thing.
I didn't like it, and I think it was just because, regardless of, because we talked about it a little bit ago, but Cammy used the money from her husband's him passing away to help rebuild the call center and bring all
mm,
these systems and upgrades and stuff to them to give them more skills and opportunities to help people. And he was using that against her. And I'm like,
mm,
just because she did this doesn't mean she had something to do with it. And I was like, I don't remember what series it was. I'm thinking it might have been Lone Star, or I might be
mm.
thinking of something else. But wasn't there an episode somewhere where somebody had to use like a sex site like OnlyFans? They had to like create an account and like to help rescue somebody. Was that in Nashville?
I think that was Nashville. Yeah,
Okay, so
because they
I was
had
like,
the
I,
like OnlyFans content creator, which
yes, the gal.
people called in watching in another country.
Right, yeah, she got folded up
oh,
the the,
guys,
the
my
Yeah.
brain
bed.
went a total different way. I'll just like, so my brain, I forgot about that, but I also was thinking about it in a different way that you guys were. I was thinking about, um, you remember in Lone Star, remember like the organ selling ring and Grace went
Yeah.
undercover when she shouldn't
Huh.
have
Yeah.
thing? Yeah, my brain went there because that's just how my
Oh,
brain
yes.
works.
Okay.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, yeah.
My God, my memory on Lone Star is
Isn't
terrible.
that season 3 or 4?
Uh,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about, Kate. But no, what I was saying was I
I think
thought
it
they were
must
going to
have
go
been
that
late
direction,
for. I don't remember.
possibly. I thought they were going to
Uh,
go the direction of
I think
trying
it
to
was.
blame her for like logging into that system and allowing a hacker to get into their system at that
Mm.
time. I didn't think that they
Which
were
Oh,
going
would
to,
have been interesting if
yeah,
that was the way.
yeah, like that would open it up. And I'm like, no, you guys went to just, oh, because she had some administrative access at one point because she helped get the system online. And I'm like, this is
Wow.
ridiculous. Like, I get that you're in a hurry and I get you're the FBI and you have, authorities, but that was a very big jump. I guess you could
Like,
say.
I
yeah.
kind of get it. So here's the thing. I kind of understand why they looked at her, but I did feel like it was super wishy-washy. And like for the time that they had, and
Mm-hmm.
with like no evidence other than she spent a bunch of money on the place, like they could have
Yeah.
been using their efforts elsewhere, especially since she said something about them waiting for like 2 hours before they
Yeah.
actually like your efforts could have been elsewhere. Like again, I
Literally.
sort of get it because like some which people are weird, man, and like maybe there was a sense of like they could have pursued like a sense of entitlement or something. I thought
Yeah.
like even as much as I liked the FBI agent, I did look up his name by the way. It's Turner. I didn't want to just keep referring to him as the FBI agent. As much as I liked Agent Turner, that was just no. I hate that whole little bit of things. I was like, oh,
Yeah. I also like I'm it's not like any of us are worried, but I'm just saying in general, like I watch enough crime shows to know, okay, when it's like at this point in the episode, you know this isn't gonna be the true
Right.
person behind it, so you know it's just like whatever. So I honestly don't didn't care enough, and it's just whatever. But I
it just
was
felt like wasted time.
exactly, and it always does. You're just like, oh, this person would be great for like it, not in this scenario, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying in general.
Oh, in crime shows, yeah.
Yeah, when they and then it's like somebody completely different, you're just like, oh, that's just okay. So Dawn goes looking out for Blythe, and like she left a trail, and they do find her, and like they have to give her fluids, and like she's lost too much blood, and of course I already knew where this is going. So of course Don's like, oh, I'm Oneg, or I'm, oh, whatever it was.
Yeah, the
He's a
universal
Oh,
donor.
universal
negative, yeah.
donor. I'm just gonna keep it simple because honestly I did not pay attention to the details. I just know universal donor.
It's O negative.
um
Yeah.
I thought so, but I just didn't want
I
to
think
get
that's the only
details wrong.
universal blood type, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is O negative.
Yeah, I
Because I think my
forget.
dad's O negative. Anyway,
Yeah.
go on. You're fine.
So he's a universal donor, and so he donates blood right to her. And I'm just like, how many times have we seen this done in the show? EJ and I for specifics, because this happened in
The
Night
night
Shift,
shift.
and this happened in Lone Star.
Star.
I'm sure it's been done in other shows too, but those are the two I can think of off the top of my
Mm.
head. And I'm
Yeah.
not mad at it. I'm just like, of course, this is what they do.
Yeah, I remember that episode in the night shift too. It was well, one of them was TC, and that I think it's the woman that ended up being the coyote.
Yeah. Okay, okay. This is a great, I finally figured out what a lot of my issue with the show is. And this is actually what I was going on with the Nepo baby bit. I couldn't quite manage to get to that my point. And before I say this, I understand nine star? Jesus, y'all know I'm tired. 911 and Lone Star also have this. We're just gonna call them both Nine Star now, by the way. Nine Starville, that is the franchise. All that being said, convenience. That is my issue. And they all have it, but Nashville is feels like it's worse because I did also just look up what percentage of the population is O negative. It's 7% of like 8 billion people. Convenient. Again, it's not a big deal, but this is a theme on my problem with the show, and it's for it. Sorry, I'm done. I promise. For now.
Yeah. I
It's
maybe I'm just so disconnected that I don't care. I don't know how to
I might be
explain it
there.
because like there's just some like there are definitely things in the show that got me, but like then there's also things in the show where I'm just like I guess I just don't care. Like I guess I just I don't know. I've watched so many shows in my life that I'm just like if I care, I will definitely be able to talk about something for forever, but there maybe I just don't care. I don't know how to explain it.
That's
Like
fair.
it's just like but then we get to the last scene, and
Mm.
so Cammie's putting things together, and she's like, she's calling like Roxy and Taylor and being like, talking about like the people that had medical devices, and then asking like who wasn't affected. And they're like, we don't usually pay attention to that. And like
Yeah.
she has like a list, and then she's like, and so that she kind of figures that the people that voted to not pay the ransom are the
Mm,
people that like medical devices got hacked. And so
yeah.
the person that has doing all this must have witnessed the meeting that they were having. So it has to be
Mhm.
somebody in-house in the call center that it is behind the hacking,
Mm.
which It makes sense, and it even makes more sense later, but that's all I'll say for now. Going on to the next episode. So we meet this mom in the NICU with her baby, and then
I
Sam,
loved this. I'm
I
just gonna
know
say,
It
I
was
loved them.
touching.
it was.
Yeah.
So Sam ends up going up there because one of the nurses tells her that she like basically hasn't left her baby's side, which I totally understand,
Mm.
and I'm
Mm-hmm.
That
sure they even understand.
no
Uh,
force on heaven or earth could
Right.
possibly get me to leave my baby's side if I was in this scenario. So,
yeah, it is a tough thing. Like when I was born, I was in the NICU, and stuff, and my mom was like basically like, oh yeah, it was like hard to like leave you, and stuff. She's like, oh, I didn't want to, or whatever. And so like Sam kind of convinces her to go home and kind of like to take care of herself and then like come back or whatever. Like she needs to sleep and that kind of stuff. But this is concerning because so she is
mm,
like sleep deprived. She grabs like one of the coffee, like from the coffee things they have before she goes. And like she is considering like Uber, of course, which is good. But
Mhm.
then it's like too long of a wait, so she ends up driving. And I was so worried about this because she is so sleep deprived. She does not look
mm.
well enough to be operating a
Exactly.
a vehicle. Um,
Which is so funny because like things did happen, but it wasn't even her fault. But like
I
originally we're all
know,
like, oh no, like
which
she'll cause a crash.
I knew where this was going, but even so, I was still
Yeah.
concerned. And of course, a crash does happen, and now there's a new hack with a $15 million on the line in only an hour. Because basically now these hacks are becoming like shorter time, more money, and yeah. So they're talking to the mayor on like FaceTime or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I have a new pacemaker not connected to the internet," and it's like, "Yep, that's for the best."
I like it best. Yeah.
Right.
And Kimmy says like
Not everything
she's
needs to be connected to
right, exactly. Yeah,
you.
literally. And Kimmy's saying how she thinks the hack was an inside job and they're looking into Ariella as the hacker, which is one of the consultants that they had show up. And according to
Oh
her
yeah, the
travel
really
records,
cool.
she's led audits in LA before they were attacked. In Atlanta in 2022. Okay, the Atlanta thing I found to
Mhm.
be like very interesting because anybody that's watched the show The Resident, they had a hacking storyline, which actually, I believe, from what I remember, it aired within like a day of when the 911 aired. They aired a day
That's
Mhm.
funny.
and had different outcomes. And also at the time, they were airing on the same network. They were both airing on Fox. And also, an interesting bit about that is this actor who is playing the mayor was also in The Resident. He played one of the doctor's dads, and stuff, which
Right.
from what I remember about their hacking storyline, I believe when I remember, he was the one that actually paid the money for the hacking when they did it. And from what I
That's
remember
funny.
about the episode, I think they found their hacker, but I think a lot of people had said, "Oh, that is definitely a nod to that."
Mhm.
And stuff, which is like a cool thing and stuff. So yeah, small nods. And I even love him being like, I didn't know there was a hack in Atlanta when he full on was in the show. Especially at that time. It was very funny and I
That's
loved that
funny.
they did that. And they're like, oh yeah, like it didn't become public because they paid the ransom, which
Mhm.
is why nobody knew about it. And the agent thinks that there is a device in the call center that wasn't like basically given up because obviously they confiscate
Right.
everyone's phones when they go under lockdown and stuff. And so they're like thinking a device is hidden. And so we have that. We see Blythe and her dad. And he is so just like mad about like the whole blue thing and like I love Blythe just saying that like she used the family PI and he's like, you used our PI? And she's like, yeah, and
Mhm.
he's like, oh, good. And So like she basically sets the record straight, saying, "Be like, I was the same way when I found out, and like I found out Blue is a good kid and like that kind of stuff." And Edward is like talking about like, "Oh, Don stepped out on you, like whatever," and he's mad about that. And she said that we're separated, and Edward's like, "Well, that doesn't excuse him for playing around." And I love Blythe saying, "He wasn't the only one."
Well, good job on her for at least admitting it.
Good girl. Yeah.
Literally.
See, I liked this because, like, here's the thing. I don't love the dynamic feel that I get from Blythe and her dad. Mm,
It's
it's the
very
baby in
British.
her when she's a middle-aged woman. Like, I don't know.
She's got a
Whatever.
25-year-old adult son. She doesn't need to be treated like a child by her father.
And I
Literally.
already said my feelings on like the using the term daddy unironically when you're older. I said that episodes ago. I don't need to. But like I don't love it and like watching him like turn off the TV that she's trying to watch kind of thing. And like I don't love it. So I do love that she did just hit him with that. Like, dude, I'm an adult.
I
I don't
don't
like him.
I don't like the whole like daddy thing. I get the people in the South, that's how they talk.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it a lot, and I'm just like, I don't like that. And like
Feels weird.
Edward is totally throwing a fit. Like he's like, oh, like Blue hasn't been left out of the family. I have. And I'm like, shut up, you're acting like such a
Oh
man
my
child, and I
gosh.
want to punch you.
You poor underprivileged wealthy white man. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit.
I really don't. Like this man could
I
just
don't either.
like go away.
Man child. Anyway,
Literally what I was thinking the whole time.
Man, child.
Yep, absolutely. Um,
now you always come running to me. Anyway, so I love that song. Anyway.
same. And so basically Don tells Blue that there is a possibility that he might have to let him go because of this whole drama with Edward. And it's just like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. I don't even, yeah. But then we, more of the hacking type stuff because we have Ariella sneaking around to some other room where she probably shouldn't be, and then the agent finds that she's there and is like questioning it and like questioning her afterwards, and he like discovers like it's just very suspicious. And of course, her assistant then sneaks into the bathroom to get said device. And I'm just like, yep, it is always the quiet ones.
Always the
And
quiet ones.
Cammy does catch her, and I love like how like Cammy is so her quick thinking is so good because she pepper sprays her, and then she's
Right.
screaming like a freaking child. She's like, "I'm dying, I'm dying." I was so fed up with it. I
Yeah.
just was like, "Girl, shut the
Mm.
hell up." And then like they're questioning her after, and she reveals how basically she sold passwords on the dark web, and because like they're like, oh, you need to stop the next hacking, and she's like, I can't. And so she sold the passwords on the dark web, so it's like somebody else is basically doing all these things, and she gets paid 100K per update. So like this is why this keeps happening, 'cause she's just getting richer and richer. Well, not anymore, honey. And like, yeah, they do say they're like, oh well, with your cooperation, like we'll be able to reduce whatever. They didn't really get into that much, but yeah. And so the
Well,
next,
the selling point was that she was gonna ruin Ariella's reputation by the fact that she managed to get away with so much.
yep,
That was
yeah,
a
that was
selling
the
point.
yeah, that
Right.
was yeah. I get that she was just, I don't know. It's very obviously we all know it's shady, but I'm just like, I don't know. Not the main point, but I was just
Mm,
like, yep, when they revealed that this is basically this, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks. But of
yeah.
course, it's not over yet because the next attack happens. And so basically, all the lights, traffic lights are turning green all at the same time and causes this terrible pileup in that, mom we met in the beginning of the episode is crushed basically by this huge truck. Of course, like when they do end up getting her out of the car, she's like saying, my baby, my baby. And so they're like asking if her baby was in the car, and she tells them that her baby's in the NICU. So then they're like, "Oh, well, we're bringing you there."
Because literally while she was like sitting at the stoplight, she was looking at a photo of her kids. So
Yeah.
all she's thinking about is her kid.
I know, understandably, and I'm just like, "Oh, my
Well, and I
heart."
feel bad for her too because I think they had mentioned something about her husband was deployed and was supposed to come home for the birth
Yes.
of the baby, and the baby
Because the
came
baby was
6 weeks
6 weeks early.
early. So now she's
Yeah.
by herself and didn't want the baby alone. And I was like, oh man, I felt for her because it's happened so frequently. Guys are out,
Hmm.
on deployment and plan to come home for a certain amount of time, and then the baby comes early, and then they're having to, yeah. So I felt for her.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I loved Sam going to Blythe and to have her and Edward basically be with Millie's baby because Millie was like she was worried about leaving her and like she didn't want her baby to be alone, and so I loved that like they were able to do that and stuff. We have this whole like scene in the ambulance with like Roxy and Taylor. So Roxy basically clamped off like a bleed that she had, like she clamped off her aorta with her finger, and I'm just like, okay. I'm sorry,
I'm not. I
but
don't know that. I don't know that I'm even gonna touch that one.
it's very Grey's Anatomy. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm not even gonna go any further than that. Yeah, so this is like their only choice to saving her and making sure like her baby doesn't lose his mama. And I'm just like, yep. So basically, when they get there, Sam has to get Millie into surgery fast. And of course, like Roxy already got her hand up her, so she's not going anywhere. And
Right?
then like Sam's like, well, they need like a scrub nurse. So it's like Taylor's like, I'm not a nurse, and Sam's like, you are today, and I loved that so freaking much. There was so much happening in this scene. That's why I'm just like, oh, but this happened, but that happened. Because there was complications, of course, because the next another part of another hack was that basically they lost power. The generators would not kick up again, and it's just like terrible because of course we had the surgery going on. We also had the babies in the NICU. Not to mention the other things that they did not mention that we know happen. Seen this before in
Mhm.
so many things. And when there's no power and they're like having to hand bag in like the NICU and stuff, and like the 113 is able to get like power back the old-fashioned way. This is very interesting. And I loved when Roxy was telling Sam, like, you did this. And, like, Sam's like, no, we all did it. Like, absolutely. And I'm just saying, I need more scenes with them three.
I loved it.
Yeah, that was good.
Like truly girl
Absolutely.
power. It
Absolutely.
was
I
great.
love to see it. And like everything seems to be going back to normal. Like everyone's like screens at the call center are going back and it says funds paid and you're just like, excuse me?
All right.
Like thanks for playing funds paid, and I'm just like, I don't that okay, whatever. Uh and
I knew immediately what was going on. Well, I also kind of knew at the end of the other scene when we watched
Yeah.
him walk away.
When he walked away, I was like, I know what he's gonna go do.
Absolutely, but like also I was like, I don't know. I was just like, what? Um, and then so I loved this end scene with Millie because she wakes up from surgery and like she wants to go see her baby, and Sam's like, no, you can't. And then but they're like he got off the vent, so like they're able to bring him to her, and so she gets to be with her baby, and so she says like, oh, thank you, I don't know how I'll be able to repay you. And Blythe's like saying how like a mama with her baby is payment enough. Guys, the scene made me cry. I don't know if I was just
Yeah.
very emotional, but I was bawling. Like I was just
Yeah.
like
It was a good scene.
it
Well, I think
was.
there was also like I don't know if we've mentioned I don't know if this has been mentioned before in the show and I just don't remember. But then like bring up in an earlier scene that Blythe's mom died in childbirth with her.
I
I don't remember if
forgot
it was
about
mentioned
that.
another point in the show, but
Yeah.
it was mentioned this time. So I was like, okay, that does
Well,
bring on another meaning.
so I'm glad you brought that up because I actually when this episode started, I saw the background where it said her name and then Raleigh Memorial
Yeah.
Center, whatever. So I'm like, this is her
Oh,
mom or somebody in the family. And then when she said, like, I don't know how you did it, mom dying in childbirth with me. And I was like, oh,
And then her being in the NICU for a month apparently was
yeah,
yeah, like so
yeah, I
that
guess.
added a whole new
Oh,
element
absolutely.
yeah,
for sure.
Honestly, I guess I just wasn't connecting enough to
right.
connect all of that, but I love knowing that now at least.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
and just for anyone, like I know Katie and I've been talking a lot about like Grey's Anatomy and stuff, but it was so funny to see Jessica Capshaw in a NICU, like treating a baby, and like they're like teaching how to use like the um how to give like breathe for the babies and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, she already knows all this stuff.
Yeah, as
I'm
if she
like,
was a
yeah,
pediatric surgeon.
right. The pediatric surgeon for
Mm.
how many seasons on Grey's Anatomy?
It so many.
Yeah. But I could definitely tell throughout this like episode with the scenes with her and her dad, like some of the conversations they were having weren't necessarily about Blue per se, but they
Mm.
definitely had a theme to help with that
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, for sure. That honestly puts so many things into perspective as well.
Yeah.
Like honestly. But then we have Cammy goes to her car and is crying about the day.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, naturally.
Real.
And then of course, the agent interrupts it, and there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing worse than crying and then somebody interrupting it. And
And you could tell like he just had this awkward like he was like, oh no. Because
he's
And
like,
he's like,
"Oh
"Oh, what did I
shit."
walk into?"
Literally. And then like he tells her that they found the hacker and like thanks her for her help. And then like he says her husband must have been the best. And Cammy said how he was. And then the agent reveals that basically he lost his wife. And so he runs a support group, and Cammy is like, he's asking Cammy about, like, do you go to one? And Cammy's like, oh, that's not really my thing. And so, like, yeah, he tells her he runs one and, like, says, oh, you should join sometime. And she's like, oh, like, yeah, she's like, yeah, not really my thing. But they exchange numbers. It's like, oh, if I don't have your number, how am I ever gonna do this? And
Right.
this could be interesting, and I'm just gonna say I ship it.
I ship it.
I was so yeah. It was funny because when I watched this, I was just like the scene, and when he was talking about like, and when it was like, oh, his wife died, and I'm like, yep, I ship it. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
absolutely, and I definitely think in some capacity he's gonna come up again. Actually, I think
I
I
hope
had
so.
read that a support group was going to come up in one of the. I can't remember if it is the next episodes we're gonna talk about, or if it's even later than that. It's definitely going to be interesting. So then our final scene, um, so like they're in the hospital and stuff, and like Blythe and Edward are walking around or whatever, and so Don tells Edward that he found out an anonymous donor paid the ransom and
Mm.
also funded the NFD's budget shortage, and even Edward.
Gee, I wonder who that was.
Literally, it's like, I don't know. And then even Edward admitted the 113 saved the city, but of course he had to have the last laugh. John
Hmm.
said that Blue would appreciate it. And Edward says it wasn't fair that Blue would have to pay for the sins of a father. Yeah, of course he had to put that in there to have the last laugh or have the last punch. The last word, actually, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Last word, yeah.
And I'm just like, yep, of course. Which I really hope we do not see this man very much because I do not like him. I don't care if like yes, it was a good thing he will do, and I can admit when people do good things, but I do not like this man. I don't care what he did. It does not make up for how much of an ass he is. Like he's just he's annoying. I don't like him. He's like the typical like I got money, blah 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 kind of guy. Like I don't like him and I'm over him and I swear I really hope that if we do see him, he's just there and he does not bring any more drama because honestly, we're all over. I can speak for all of us. We're over it.
Yeah.
If he shows up, he needs to pay me
Absolutely.
for
Absolutely.
therapy. Um,
Girl therapy.
Right?
therapy. And it's really just making old white privilege my baby.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. I think I enjoyed the last half better than I enjoyed the first half. There
Hmm.
were definitely parts in them that I liked. I still have just so many like conflicting feelings. Like it's funny because I I had just watched these episodes, I think like the Saturday before recording because I was honestly like, I'm not putting this off to like the last freaking minute because I already
Mm.
have to do like other things the last freaking minute and stuff. But I'm just like, I'm more motivated to watch a show knowing that in a few episodes Puck and Eddie will be on and oh I was so motivated to
Yeah.
watch it then. I kind
Yeah.
of wish that 10 had already aired so that way like it was closer because honestly, all I care is that Buck and Eddie are going to be in Nashville, and I just want to see them interact with everyone. I did hear them say that they wanted to bring in a few Lone Star characters, so that way it could have been like a three-way crossover, even with no Lone Star. But like they weren't able to make it work.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Missed opportunity.
it
Right.
was totally a missed opportunity. It doesn't mean they couldn't do it in the future. Like they would just have to.
I would have loved
I think it was more like they couldn't do it in a way that it would make sense.
I would have loved trying to watch Ryan and Blue comprehend Marjan
Absolutely. Oh
just
my
as
God.
a bad.
Blue and Marjan being like having like although Marjan like not to say
She would have
deliberately.
absolutely steamrolled him, and I love it. Like,
Yeah,
but
cuz
I
like
also would have loved watching her and like her, Roxy, and Taylor all like
Yeah.
be
That would be
badasses.
fun.
I think
Yeah.
if we could stop watching this show at any time, it's not like we have
Mm,
obligations.
yeah.
Yeah.
We could just be like, no, guys, sorry, we're not watching this, which I don't think anybody would care because I think I
Yeah.
only know of a handful, not even a handful of people that are watching it.
Yeah.
It's almost, I don't even know where I was going with this, but I think what I'm saying is if we weren't recording, I don't think I would have like if I was just like a Lone Star 911 fan that maybe talked about the shows like online or whatever, I don't think I would have motivation to watch this. I think I might have watched the pilot to be like, hey, what's the show? And then I don't think I would have had motivation because I already didn't have motivation after because I watched the first episode like the week it came out or a week later, something like that. And I didn't have motivation to watch it until we started talking about it in like whatever that was in like just November, December, whenever it was. Literally no motivation. Like the only thing that I do feel is keeping me to come back is honestly Roxy and Taylor and Sam, like the younger-ish women.
Yeah.
Because like it's not that I don't like Blythe or Cammy. It's just like they're just kind of there, and I don't
Mm.
find them that interesting. They're just like they're not the main part of the show, and I could like the way people in the Lone Star fandom felt about Owen Strand is exactly how I feel about Don. Like, no, I don't hate his guts, but I find him annoying. I think, I think he is like about 100 times worse than Owen Strand.
Dear God, the
Absolutely.
haters of Owen would never make it through
I
that.
don't think any of them watch this show because literally, I think this man is, like I said, this man is way worse. Like, he is insufferable. Like, I
Yeah.
love the actor. He
Yeah.
was in things that I really liked, but cannot
Do you guys
stand him.
do you guys want to hear something really funny? And again,
Of
I don't
course.
dislike the actor at all. But
Right.
when Blythe woke up in the hospital, kind of angled this right for this. I lay my camera for a reason. When Blythe woke up in the hospital and he was just over her like, hi, so I fucking got jump scared.
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh, that's all I'm okay. I do not like Don. I don't hate his guts necessarily, but I really dislike him. So like he's just boiled down to Nepo white man. Nepo by in-law white man. I'm sorry, that's all. That's all. That's all. I see
I
him as
I do know he will have a backstory, so I actually am interested of hearing about
Mm-hmm.
that. I am also like as a Lone Star fan, I am also a little bit bitter that they couldn't dare do Begins episodes because they said that was like 911's thing, and yet we're
Yeah.
getting a Dawn Begins. Are you freaking kidding me? I think even when I heard about it, I texted you guys about it, and I
Yeah.
was like,
I
are
remember
you
that.
freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
also we are getting a Dom begins before we get a Robbie begins.
Criminal.
Yep.
Criminals. Also, I actually do not give a shit about this Max. I don't
Um,
care. I so do not give a shit about that guy.
I do, it is kind of
I'm sorry.
interesting
Like,
though. I do know like bits and pieces about it because I believe it might be their like when they come back from the break, it might be their next episode. And I did see the promo, I or something about it, and I do know about it, but I'm also like I do find it a little bit interesting.
might find it interesting when I watch it. Just don't give a shit about it right now.
Well, I mean, I have lots of stuff to say. I don't know if I'll
I
make it
also have
clear.
lots of things to say.
So, Grace, why don't you go ahead and talk about how you felt about the episodes too, and then I'll go after you.
I just talked about the random shit.
No, yeah,
Katie, do you
no,
want to like say how you actually felt about the episodes and then
Because
we
I
like
just
go
started
on sort of
talking
final
about random
thoughts? Yeah.
feelings
yeah,
about the
Yeah.
plot.
yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Do you
Um,
want to like say how you felt about it though?
Okay, so I like these episodes. I think I like 8 the
Mm.
best. I do like how they wrapped up the storyline and stuff with the hacking. It made total sense. I like how they didn't go for something that was just like so far-fetched that didn't really make any sense. They were at least able to connect it. And there were like little things in there for people that some were intentional, some weren't that I did like. And we'll see what happens next.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with the episodes for them. I actually, so I did like both episodes. I liked eight far better, that's for sure. And I think for one thing, one reason I liked the episodes was that Dixie was not in them because I
Oh,
don't like
that was a
Dixie.
good factor. I didn't honestly.
Didn't even connect the dots. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
I was watching this. I'm like, wait, Dixie's not. Oh my gosh, that's why I'm enjoying myself a little bit. I gosh. Um, yeah, I really don't like that woman. So nothing against the actress. I have nothing one way or another about the actress. That character though. So I did for the most part enjoy them. I think I had very conflicting feelings on a fair amount because I just have conflicting feelings about Nashville in general. But also, like, sometimes I just get slapped in the face by how bad the acting feels at different points. And I remember that, like, a lot of the younger ones are newer actors too, or like, or an influencer who got like promoted. So nothing gets her nothing, but like a lot of newer actors, and I think it shows because like there were different scenes where I totally got brought out of it by just realizing like the way that they stood was like very unnatural, but like it was in very flexing position or like in a very, I don't know, I keep getting brought out by things that I consider bad acting and I don't like it, but overall they were fine. I liked the hacking storyline. I actually thought it was pretty well done. I did find, I think ultimately the ending was a bit anticlimactic because, you know, it was like they
Felt
outsourced
that
the
too.
overall problem. But I'm not mad about it because the events were climatic enough. They did sort of get someone involved with it on their end. I would have been more upset about it if they hadn't, like, if they completely outsourced this, like, the problem, but they got whoever the assistant's name was. I don't remember her name. They got her at least, and that felt like something. Overall, I actually started to like Cammy during this. I feel like that was the biggest development out of everything because I didn't really like her before. I didn't hate her or anything. I just didn't really like her. I started liking her during this. I like Blythe. I've always liked Blythe though. I'll be very happy never to see Edward again. I'm sure we will see him plenty more though. Sadly, still dislike Dawn. I still dislike Dixie. Those are all the same. Um, I will say we didn't really touch on it during this, but they are also hinting at like a Blue and Taylor thing
Yeah, I
happening.
noticed that.
Yeah,
Don't think I like it.
I've been trying to ignore that because if anything, I want the female version of Buddy. I do not want another hetero ship, just saying.
I don't have an issue against either. Like I like Taylor and I like Blue. I don't have an issue with either of them. I just don't as okay, as someone who does have an interest in a man, my great reluctance. It feels way too straight. I'm just like I'm uncomfortable.
It's kind of forced. They could
It
be
does
doing
feel
so many
forced.
things, and I just don't like that. And everyone's saying it, and I'm just like, at this point, I'm just trying to ignore it. If I ignore it, maybe it just will happen. I'm just like,
Yeah.
can we literally just focus on different relationships and not that? This would also be
Yeah.
well, I was gonna say this would be the first time in the show that there would be like an actual in-house relationship. Yes, I get in Lone Star there was Nancy and Mateo, but they didn't. Nancy was on
Oh, I do my
ambulance,
best to forget that.
and also I did not like that ship at all. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Hated
Yeah,
that
I
to
forget
the
a lot of
end.
things. I forget a lot of things about Lone Star. That one's intentional.
Yeah, so if they make this happen, I will be ignoring it every episode, which granted that's great because we're only going to be talking about this like every once in a while. So that'll be
It's
really
perfect.
easy on our part.
Yeah.
But I've
Uh,
literally, I
like
think,
I'm not saying there's nothing they could do to bring me around to it. Since I have no real hatred for either of them, like I like both of the actual characters. Sorry, I did cut you off, Katie. I just
no,
went
you're
off my
good.
own thing. Since I like both of the characters, I'm not saying it's impossible to bring me around to it. Nancy and Mateo, I didn't like Mateo, and I do not like Jules, who is the actor. So like I liked Nancy, but I did not like Mateo that I was never going to come around to that ship. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just like, um, okay. I'm going to flip a narrative really quick. Like, they can live their life how they want to, but why do they have to do it in front of me? But I'm saying about a hetero ship, so it's
Yeah, that's funny.
fine. That's just how I feel about a lot of hetero ships and things. But yeah, so
Well, I just have to say, at least she wasn't looking at him as what a man was playing in the background.
That is true. And there
true.
were a
But
few
it
ships,
basically
even a 9-1, that it did take a while to come around to. Not that I didn't like them, they
Yeah,
just weren't
true.
like my forefront, I guess, of thinking or whatever. Like they just weren't ones that were like, oh my God, I love this ship. Oh yes, like give it to me. Like, yeah, no.
yeah. Yeah, for sure. And there have been plenty I've been ambivalent about just overall in both shows. So I don't, we'll see what happens, I guess, but I'm really not for it. At this point, the only relationship I give a shit about at all is that I ship Agent Turner and Cammy. I don't even give a crap about Ryan and Sam because at the moment I'm like, honestly, Sam, I might be on your side. If he doesn't start treating you better, leave him.
Yeah, I would have
To
been
be clear, I
it's
don't dislike Ryan. I just
just
don't
I don't
really, I
know.
don't have an opinion on him.
I feel
He just feels like a privileged white boy.
yeah, this you know what bothers me about Ryan? The thing that bothers me about him, and it's like not his fault or not even the actor's fault,
Mm.
but he just gives very much like straight TK. Like I feel like they were trying to typecast to be like, well, we had this, so let's just create this. And I'm like, it's not the same because TK was gay and this man is straight, and I
He doesn't
you
even have
know,
enough
Ronan is way
personality.
more attractive than nothing
True.
against this guy, but like he's very
Hmm.
like
He's not my type.
I'd rather look at TK than look at him, just say it.
Mm.
I'd rather look at most other male casting on the. on either show that it like again, nothing against him. He's not my type though. I don't know. He's just and at least TK had a personality.
Yeah.
Ryan so far doesn't have much of a personality. His
No,
personality is just kind of nepo baby-ish. I'm being so mean to
no,
this
because like
family,
I
but I
feel
stand
like
by it.
they I feel like they are just not so when a first season of a show comes out, it's like they build the personality up or they like try to get you to get to know the characters. I feel like we're not doing that. So maybe that's why a lot of times I'm disconnecting because like it's like so we're going off nothing. So I'm just picking what I like or I like what I like, whatever. And I just feel
Yeah.
like we're not getting anywhere. Like we're not getting to know any of the characters. And there were so many moments where maybe it is like something they talked about behind the scenes or like but meaning behind the scenes of like the characters at this conversation. But literally Blue made a comment about oh like an insulin pump. I would know about that. And I'm just like, so do they know about that?
Yeah. Yeah, because like as far as we know, no, the way Roxy was acting in that conversation, it was like, I don't think she knows. Does anyone know?
I don't think
Like,
so. Well, I don't. Does he have a pump, or is he just insulin dependent?
he might just be insulin dependent because
I'm
he had
not
to take his
sure.
insulin
Yeah, but
in that
his
one.
yeah, I wasn't sure because there was like the sound of something of the sorts in one of the episodes.
Yeah, but I think that was a continuous glucose monitor.
Yeah. Well,
That might be it.
Yeah,
That
which
might
either
be it,
way,
yeah.
he
keeps
does
track. Yeah.
know about it. So like I was like, so do they know about it? I'm just like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Those are just my random thoughts that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, I am very like apathetic about so many things in the show, but I also care weirdly about other things. And it's a very odd position to be in. Um, but overall, I don't know. I liked these episodes. I don't particularly feel one way or another about the ones we have coming up, but I am
Yeah.
sort of interested, I guess, to see what happens. Well, I don't know. We'll be watching them anyway, so like
Right.
Yeah, I don't
at
even
some point.
know what's happening. Like, I don't remember, like, the plot lines, which actually is fine because then I can just go into it blind, anyways.
These shows were okay. The first one was it, episode 7. I wasn't as much of a fan of. I actually didn't mind the boat scenes. Like I think that was kind of cool. Some of the others I could have done without. Episode 8 was a little better for me. Yeah, it did seem a little lackluster in the resolution of the hacking storyline by they gets to so far to a point and then all of a sudden it's like he's like, oh yeah, we found the guy, he's in somewhere, and I'm like,
In another country. So they were
yeah,
never gonna bring him in.
Bulgaria,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Like, that was literally impossible for them to follow up on. So honestly, I'm just like, okay, that makes sense.
Right. It just the way
Yeah.
it came, I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah. So it was a hair lackluster on that. I'm glad Blythe didn't get more severely hurt. I'm glad the mom was reunited with her baby. I definitely
That
feel like she was holding a child to her chest after just having an exploratory laparotomy and somebody's hand in her chest less than 24 hours prior. I thought that was a little out
I
of
can't even
sorts.
I can't even touch the medicine on this show.
Yeah, I have noticed this series is definitely taking a lot more liberties with the medical jargon and the medical side of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they're
don't know
really
that they
just trying to
always
show off or
I
show
Yeah.
don't know that they
something.
always understand like
Just like the
sorry.
drama in it. I'm just like, I really don't care at this point. Just like, whatever. It is what it is. And I don't know. I don't know.
The moment they brought up the aorta, I checked out of that because I couldn't. If there is a bleed in the aorta, you have very limited time.
I guess I was just like very unfazed by that because I grew up, since I was a teenager watching every medical show I could possibly watch. So I've probably seen that be
And they take
done
such liberties.
on shows too much
Mhm.
to even give a shit. Like
Mhm.
they do it so much where somebody has their hand in somebody's body pinching something off of their finger and I'm just like I
Yeah.
really don't care. Like, it is what it is. I've seen this a billion times. Like, what's new?
Yeah, just is what it is.
Right. Yeah. So
I just checked out of it at that. Like the technicalities, I had to.
yeah. Yeah. At this point, I'm kind of doing the same thing. And I just, it's, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like this isn't my favorite show.
Definitely not.
So it's easier for me to be a little more separate from like certain things. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. Our next episode we'll be talking about episode 9 and 10. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And then in a couple more episodes from that, we'll have B and Buck will be in Nashville. So I'm curious how they're going to do that. If they're going to do what they did last time in like 9-on-1 and then the Lone Star crossover, where at like the very finite, like last scene, Buck, Eddie, and Hen get the call that they're heading out to Texas to help with the fires. And then that like the whole next episode of Lone Star is going to be that, which is kind of what I'm getting the vibe at. So we're not going to have it like start in 9-on-1 and then go into Nashville.
Yeah, like I feel like it's gonna be similar to that, or similar to what they did when Athena went over to Dr. Odyssey, where it was like Athena was showing up at like a call or whatever at a cruise ship, and she was I feel like it might be
I completely forgot that happened.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like I didn't forget that happened, but I forgot that I watched any bit of Dr. Odyssey, and that was the only bit I watched.
Yeah.
And then I got canceled, so I was like, well, I'm not going to get invested in something that's...
Yeah. It was an interesting show. I did like it. I watched all the episodes. But I love Joshua Jackson, so I've loved him a lot.
Yeah, it was like I had every intention to watch it, but I just didn't.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I know it. Yeah, so we'll be definitely talking about more of this, and I don't know. And I do feel like some of the characters are changing. Some a little more, some like to positives, others going a little more negative, but nothing major. My dad used to say, nothing to write home about, and this is definitely how I feel about this show.
Yeah, it's I care about some things, but there's some things I'm just like, that's why I'm telling you guys. I guess I'm not paying attention to like certain moments because I'm just like so disconnected where I don't care. Like I could talk about like some things for like I could talk about a specific scene for like an hour, but then this I'm just like whatever, it is what it is. Like I'm not gonna pay attention to like all these things in it. It's just one of those things. Yeah, we'll see what they do next.
Yeah, again, we watch it with open minds.
Yeah, we try. We really try. It might not seem
we
like
say
it,
open
but
minds
we
very
do.
loosely.
Thank you guys so much for joining us and listening. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and check us out on YouTube. For more, visit 91LSRoundup.com and follow us on our socials at 91LSRoundup. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And of course, come join us on our Discord server. The link is down below and on our website. You guys can follow me, Katie, for The Love of Tarlos on TikTok, Instagram, and Threads.
You guys can follow me, Grace, at running Raffle911 on Instagram and Threads.
You can follow me, EJ, at EJ8302 on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.